Canada has pledged to phase out coal in this country by 2030, joining forces now with the UK in a campaign being launched at this year's UN Climate Conference. Environment Minister Catherine McKenna is at that meeting, and I spoke with her earlier. Minister, immediately other countries are probably going to say, though, to Canada, why are you waiting until 2030 to do it? And you have other places in this country, like Alberta, like Saskatchewan, that rely on coal for electricity. So what are you doing to help them?
So we know that coal is extremely polluting, and you've seen provinces like Ontario take action, and they've gone from 30 smog days or more to nothing. And so that's really important. Canadians want to see us taking action to protect human health, to reduce pollution, and we need to be doing this with provinces. So 4 provinces on coal, we've worked very closely with them to make sure we have a plan. And also we know we need to be supporting workers and communities, and so we're working with the provinces on that too. And you're seeing this momentum worldwide.
You might have other countries doing it, but you also have our neighboring country moving in quite the opposite direction, with your American counterpart, Scott Pruitt, declaring that the war on coal is over. Have you talked to the U.S. about your plans? Are they interested at all in this conversation?
Well, the U.S. has taken a different approach. The U.S. administration has taken a different approach when it comes to the Paris Agreement and climate change. But just today, I was with Governor Jerry Brown of California. That's the 6th largest economy of the world. Governor Jay Inslee from Washington State. They're moving forward on serious climate action. They also support the phase out of coal. So, you know, there are a lot of different partners, a lot of different players in the United States.
So if you can't get some movement from China and India at COP23 on this issue, is it pointless? I mean, you have to get those 2 major polluters, major countries on board, do you not?
Well, I mean, this is an alliance. We're launching it here. It's going to take some time. We are having good conversations. I met with China just today. We've been working very closely on climate action with China. I'm going to be heading to China in December to advance action on climate change and with a clean technology mission. So look, this is a longer process, but China has been very active. You've seen China deciding that they're not going to have 100 new coal-fired plants. So clearly China recognizes both the pollution aspect and also the need to take action to reduce emissions. In India, you're seeing images from India where, I mean, it is actually dangerous to breathe, and coal is part of this. And so India also looking at, they're moving very quickly on renewables. And so we all know we need to be doing this. Hard things are hard, and so countries need to be, figuring out how to move forward.
Minister, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Earlier in tonight's program, the Environment Minister explained why the government is pushing to eliminate coal. It still accounts for 10% of the energy generated in Canada. One clean alternative that may surpass it one day is solar. It only generates half of 1% of electricity generation in this country, but it's grown more than 2,000% in the last decade. One of the perceived downsides of solar energy is the huge upfront cost. But as Aaron Collins tells us, Alberta is making sure people who make the switch still have a rainy day fund.
Under a big blue prairie sky, change is afoot. These are the finishing touches on a seismic shift for the LaPointe family. 20 shiny new solar panels that will provide all the electricity for their home.
First on the block, I've had a few neighbors walking by saying, what are you doing? And there's some interest there, and somebody else made a call and is now getting an assessment done, but we're the first so far.
Now, it's the cost of these panels that often scares people off. This renewable reno wasn't cheap, coming in at about $17,000. But with a provincial rebate in place, once it's connected, this system should pay for itself in about a dozen years.
Are you seeing the cost of this solar technology come down?
Yeah, in the last 10 years, it has dropped significantly. Yeah, probably almost close to half, I would say. Yeah, we did an install this year for a guy that put an install in about 10 years ago, and the cost difference was night and day for him.
And panels are springing up all over Alberta. On top of the city's science centre, an almost complete solar array. And no surprise, price is driving solar's popularity.
So with costs going down and the potential for more investment being made, both by the province and potentially even by the private sector, I can really see this starting to pick up.
Well, the province is committed to doing away with coal-fired electricity in just over a decade, replacing it in part with a big increase in renewable energy, a promise that has Alberta's solar industry banking on a boom.
Alberta is the new leader in Canada in terms of solar. A lot of attention has been put on Ontario, but right now, since we have a better resource, I think Alberta is the next star.
Well, back in Calgary, the Lapointe family is part of that shift in how the province is powered. But for Paul Lapointe, the stakes are much higher.
Our planet's in some trouble, and this is our way to try to hopefully someday look at my kids in the eye and say, I did everything I could.
But to really make a difference, the Lapointe's neighbors will have to buy in as well. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Calgary.